Let's just we'll roll with it right now.
All right, we're going to roll with it. All right, so. Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah.
We do lunch.
Yeah. You would be surprised at how much consternation the three of us go through going, should we take him to dinner again? I mean, we had fun, we enjoyed it, but we don't want to impose on him. I mean, he's a busy guy. We probably spent like 3 hours talking about whether we should do dinner again with Mike Shildt or not. I mean, you just walk right up and
he's like, "What happened?" All right, put him on. This is Mike on. All right,
you're good to go.
On live.
You're just on live. We're going live.
We're live. Yeah, we're live
let's
now.
just do this right now. You're here. Why not?
Beautiful Peoria.
Why not sit down? We've already gotten to talk to some of your players. You have such a good group here. We met Kyle Hart for the first time. Met Tyler Wade finally on the show. He's fantastic. He raved about you a lot. Felt like you allow him to be Tyler Wade in that clubhouse. And I see how those guys gravitate toward him. You know, he's not a star player. You know, he's a kind of a glue guy, but everyone seems to go right around Tyler Wade. And he said, I couldn't do that with the Yankees. I kind of felt like I couldn't be myself. But he said, Shildt, he lets me be myself in that clubhouse.
Yeah, the thing about it is, Wadey's a phenomenal guy, to your point, to start. I mean, we just talked in a little bit of we did a review of our camp to this point for our big league staff, and everybody feels like it's going really well. But one of the things that stands out and that our staff's very grateful for is just how good of human beings that we have in our clubhouse. We have some really, really good dudes, that really appreciate each other, love each other, respect each other, but are also very intentional about playing well and are very dedicated to greatness. And so, the point about the identity piece, the one thing for my chair is how miserable is it if you can't be yourself?
It's not great.
It's not.
It's not great. I've done that. I've had a part of my career where I was like that. And it was actually when we started. And I didn't know anything about doing sports radio, so I tried to be Ben. And once I decided that I can't be Ben and I just need to be me, it kind of all opened up. And I think I really connected with Tyler when he talked about that, because you have to be able to do you. What is life if you can't be yourself?
It really is, and the whole comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
I've been in a lot of those situations, and some of it, or a good portion of it, I put on myself.
Yep.
To try to be somebody that the world's trying me to be, or I think somebody should be. And there's some conformity that needs to take place when you're on a team,
right,
in a team setting. But ultimately, we talk a lot about be yourself in a team setting, and don't try to conform to somebody or who you're not. And it's very freeing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. We're joined by the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods. And, with every camp, there are new challenges. You had a little bit of a flu bug going around in this one. And
we have.
You got to, keep guys away. How's everybody feeling, first of all? I saw Fernando walk in, and I saw Campy walk in. And I know they've been hit pretty hard by it, but I at least saw them here. And are they feeling better? What's the kind of the plan for those guys?
It is, knock on wood, the first day. Now I can walk out. I love our training staff.
Yeah,
I do. They're fantastic.
You don't want to see him coming, though.
I do not want to see him coming. When you're sitting at your office or you're on the field and you see a trainer walk towards you, you go, "Oh man,
this ain't good."
So anyway, I've reserved the right for that to happen here shortly, but it will be the first day in over 10 days where I feel like we're going to have all the camp here that is not related to any flu or any sickness, but looks like it's getting behind us, knock on wood, and here we go.
So we were just talking before you sat down how sometimes, well, all the time, outside perception, we don't really know what's going on all the way through the organization. About 3 weeks ago, we were talking about, wow, where's the pitching depth on this team going to come from? I mean, they have enough starters to even start the season. Now, I look at camp, and I've seen a lot of arms here, a lot of arms, not just competing for that fifth starter's job, but, depth throughout the season. What have you seen kind of from some of the guys who've been in the Cactus League games that are battling for that fifth spot, but probably you're going to need 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe more to make starts throughout the year?
Yeah. Starting point relative to the pitching concern, it's interesting because I can understand it peripherally. What I'm about to say may shock people. I think about the roster, like how to use the roster, but with AJ as our general manager, I don't think about, we would like to have X or Y, but I know he's always got a plan for what X and Y looks like for the parameters he has for the club. Now, specific to the depth, I've been really, really pleased with having the opportunity to see some young pitchers that I haven't seen yet. You hear about them, you read about them in reports, but when it comes to life, no particular order, and I'm likely going to leave somebody out. But Bradley Rodriguez, whoa! Wow. I mean, yesterday that was elite stuff. With quality strikes, because those two need to be married to those strikes and stuff. You look at Pena throwing the ball extremely well. Net has come in, big arm, multiple pitches. Exciting guy has weapons for righties and lefties. It looks like he could stay in a starting role and still develop and see where it takes him. So that's all been very positive. This Nunez kid, Eduardo Nunez, the free agent sign that we picked up, is a nice arm. He's the first free agent that was signed in all of the off season, and understandably, he's throwing 9,800 with life. A little more seasoning, but the arm's there. And then you look at the more recent signings. Obviously, Pavetta. We're looking forward to seeing Nick in competition, but he's fitting in really well with the group. Kyle Hart done a nice job coming in, and again, that guy that's dominated last year in the KBO and add some depth. And Wes Ferguson, we just added a lefty that we'll see what Wes brings to the table. But and of course the guys we have, the Waldron and Brito and Vasquez and that group.
Before you ask your next question, I got to do some radio business here. We got to pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the Ben and Woods live from Padres Spring Training.
I wanted to ask you about competition.
You didn't pause. You got to pause.
Oh, I got to pause?
Yeah, for 10 seconds.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Don't worry about missing Padres news. We'll update you on the latest on your way home. Gwynn and Chris, weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, 10 seconds is up. You may speak again.
All right, thank you very much. Shildt, wanted to ask you about, we had some fun with this earlier in the week. We were talking about, you hear it a lot in every camp. Oh, there's a lot of competition for left field, right? And you bring in 4, 5, 6, 7 guys, whatever. What does a competition look like from the manager standpoint, right? Because, in a black and white world, it's, all right, we have 5 guys. They're all competing for a left field job. You hit 470 with 3 home runs and 12 RBI, and you're looking good out in the field. You win the job. It doesn't always work that way. So from your perspective, what is it that a skipper looks for, to maybe fill a spot? Which again, we talked to you about Jurickson Profar and the loss of him. How do you recreate a Jurickson Profar with the guys that you have now?
Yeah, I mean, so broad answer to your question is, the numbers don't lie necessarily. You do pay attention to them,
sure,
but you don't get married to them. In the sense of that, look, let's see what kind of quality of bats they're having. We win in a lot of different ways. We win with the numbers, but we win in the, moments that take place in the clubhouse, moments that take place. You mentioned Tyler Wade earlier.
Yep.
Tyler Wade's a winning player. How do you define that? It's hard to qualify.
Sure.
But he helps you win games. That's all you know. And he does that by lifting others up. He does that by seeing the game. He does it by his energy. All those are variables that clearly he's got ability. If he didn't have the ability, you could be on the club.
He'd be at fantasy camp with me. Exactly.
Yeah, you could be on the team with some of these attributes that I'm sure you have. But so it's a mixture.
I take that as a compliment, actually.
Yeah, a huge compliment.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, your abilities clearly there, and how you fit with the group and how to put the team together. That's the other part about it. What's the team need, and what's this guy going to bring?
Yeah.
So it's not absolutely in a vacuum.
Mike, how are the ABS challenges, the automated ball strike system, going from your perspective? I've seen other managers. I think Terry Francona said we're not doing it. They're not going to do it this year, so they're not going to worry about it. What's been your observations, though, of seeing it in play in some of these Cactus League games?
It's been interesting. I'm still getting my head around it. It's different. Different doesn't mean good or bad, just different. We're not spending a lot of time on it. We had a brief explanation of just how it works to our guys. We owed that to them. But we've not put any feedback loop towards it, which we typically do with everything, because it's not going to come into play. There are some notes off to the side that'll be archived because let's don't kid ourselves. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. But, we're getting ready for a championship 2025 season, and we're not going to spend a lot of time, energy thinking and working on something that's not going to be in play.
Next spring training, though, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The
The notes are there and getting a feel for it and thinking about, the thing that's interesting to me, at least, is how it has to be done. I understand the immediacy of it, but they're potentially in the future. There's a real strategy of when to use it and educate the players when to maybe think about using it from a big picture game perspective. I thought Maldonado did a good job with it yesterday. Used it at an appropriate time, to try to prevent a leadoff walk.
We'll see, obviously, how the team looks when you guys break camp and who's on the roster and who's in the fifth spot and who's catching, who's playing left field. But for you, Shildt, and I know, we talked about this too, your teams traditionally, there's a build, and that's a good thing, right? You want to be playing your best baseball when it really matters the most. Do you feel any extra pressure to get off to maybe a hotter start this year than maybe you did last year? Or does that not change?
I listen, it's interesting. One thing we talk about, I believe in sincerely, is, better as the game goes, series goes, season goes.
Yep. You've said that like a mantra since you got here.
It's important. It's served me well.
Yeah.
And teams I've been a part of well. That being said, clearly you want to get off to a good start. I also come from a mindset of, like, that April game is just as important as that June game, as important as that September game, and clearly the October games are important. And yes, we definitely want to get off to a good start. I can tell you that, last year there was a lot of variables that came into play. I don't need to really, unless you want to know them, list them necessarily. The big points is, because they can be perceived as excuses,
Sure.
and I'm not in the excuse business. I'm in the solution business. But now, we've been together a year. There's clarity what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. We've got a, more traditional spring training. And but we expect to be able to perform and compete March 27th and onward.
And with that traditional spring training, there's more games, which means more time to watch some younger players like Ethan Salas and Leodalis Vries, who've gotten into a few of these games. And do you have to stop yourself sometimes and remind yourself they're just 18 years old?
Don't you?
Ethan's so mature. I mean, I listened to him even talking, and he sounds like he's been a veteran forever. And then, the ball off the bat of DeVries yesterday, no 18-year-old should be able to do that off a, even anyone in a major league camp at this point seems crazy. What's your impressions of those two young men so far?
Yeah, multiple things to this question. It's a good one. The future's bright with those two guys, and really pivotal, as we all know, catcher, shortstop positions. Unpacking them. I first of all appreciate their ability. To your point, special players. You look back in time at guys that. I talked to Manny the other day. Broke in at 20. Jackson 20. You start looking at guys that have long-term successful players. They break in at a young age, So, and I never really get too caught up, but it is impressive that they're 18. But their ability's clear. The way they go about it has been really impressive. There is some growth, as you would expect. It needs to continue to take place, but that's why we're here, helping them understand. The real spread of this, they have big league talent. It's now continuing to help them have a big league mindset. One of the things that's been a challenge for guys with that kind of talent that have a chance to be on a physical trajectory to a big league, especially a clubhouse that expects to win, is the spread of what they need to understand emotionally or mentally. And so, that's important. that they start to pick up some of these nuances because they're coming quickly, and if they don't get them between now and then, that's the intentionality to really their development. That to the question earlier a little bit about, performance is important, but it's the nuanced things that help you win games.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you sitting down and spending some time with us. We'll have our agent contact your agent about setting up a dinner.
Well, I mean, I don't have an agent. And I know, high-profile radio guys like yourselves
I'm actually embarrassed that I have one. And he
are well represented on the agents factor.
How'd you get a contract extension without an agent?
He did it himself.
I'm more of a public course player. I carry my own bag. Drove a 2006 Tundra for, almost 15 years.
Did you upgrade that this offseason?
No.
New deal?
No,
nothing?
did not.
No, all right.
Nope, upgraded it and still now have a 2021 Jeep.
All right.
There you go.
That I'll probably have
He's
another
a man of the people.
15 years. I try to be.
Yeah. He is.
But hey, I deal with agents fair amount, and I'll be happy to talk to your agent and negotiate with him. But look, you guys are amazing, and appreciate your support for our club.
Thank you, Shildt.
Good luck against the White Sox today. I know you've dropped a couple here lately. Fans are starting to get restless back home. So you better come back with a win.
Save it. You can absolutely save it right now.
I need to get fire those guys up today. Right?
Yeah, why don't you go in and you get them going? Yeah.
Mike Shildt, the manager of the San Diego Padres. He is truly a delight, especially here at spring training. Love talking to him.